Box office predictions do not look good for Captain America Brave New World. Surprise, surprise. Who is really interested in seeing this film? I don't know anyone who is, but it does show just how far the MCU has fallen. It is no longer in the main zeitgeist. I do think it is possible for them to course correct. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it with this show or anything they really have in the works as far as I have seen so far. Let's get into this right here. I wrote this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I encourage you to head on over, become a paid subscriber. We do all kinds of different articles, whether it be box office analysis like this, video game news coverage. We also cover novels, tabletops, games, comics, television, etc. We have all kinds of stuff over there. We are fully reader supported. It costs just $5 a month to support us. So head on over, become a paid subscriber, and help support us here at Fandom Pulse. So Sean Robbins at Box Office Theory shared that he predicts Captain America Brave New World will only gross between $81 million and $107 million in its opening domestic box office weekend. He ultimately settled on a $96 million number. As for the film's entire run at the domestic box office, he predicted it will gross between $195 million and $280 million. He ultimately predicted $240 million. So I actually think these numbers are going to go down as we get closer and closer to release. That's kind of what we've seen over the past year. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine being an exception to that. But if you remember, the Marvels went down, 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 down. All the Sony movies that have come out over the past year, they've gone down, 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 down as we've gotten closer to release. We haven't really seen any of them go up. So I think what we're going to see here is that these long-range predictions that are, 5-6 weeks out, we're going to see these go down. We're going to see that 96 million number come down. We're going to see that upper range 107 million come down. We're going to see that upper range 280 million come down. That 240 million overall domestic box office, that's going to come down. That's what I think. But this is why Robbins this is what he said. This is how he actually hedged this, because he even maybe speculates that this might come down. He says, ultimately, late-stage marketing reviews and early screening reception will be very important for Brave New World. The MCU has seen its share of ups and downs in recent years, with general sentiment highlighting that the franchise doesn't, at the moment, have the kind of clear trajectory which traditionally kept casual moviegoers coming back to each character's series of films in between event-level stories. I think that's actually an accurate assessment. I don't think that there is any kind of sentiment about this franchise. I think if there is, it's negative for the most part, right? It's on the downward trend. It's on the way out. They embrace the DEI agenda, the woke agenda. It's been mocked as the MCU because that is what they have been pushing. You don't have to look very far to see all of the woke ideology embedded in films like Eternals, like The Marvels, like what was that? Black Widow, etc., where you get gender swaps, you get all the whole stories are about female characters being victims, etc., etc., etc. So it's not hard to see that. However, Robbins does note that if the film does get good word of mouth, it could do very well, given it does not have any real direct competition. I doubt that this film is going to get any kind of good word of mouth. Everything we've been hearing about this is that it has been doing absolutely poorly when it comes to test screenings. I think the guy who's playing the leader, Tim Blake Nelson, has said they actually filmed the movie twice completely already. We know that the budget has to be absolutely insane. They were just doing reshoots, I feel like, a couple of months ago. It's not looking good. Everything coming out of this movie does not look good at all. So if they somehow find a way to create something good, I'll be very, very, very surprised. I wager that this is a very, very political film and was created that way to kind of lampoon Trump supporters and Donald Trump himself. I think that was probably the main purpose of this movie when they first made it, and they probably have had to make significant changes based on how Americans truly think about this. And just shows you that these people are not only out of touch, but they are trying to indoctrinate you because they know, I think at some level, they know that people don't like this stuff whatsoever. And they're trying to do their best to make it palatable so they can try to indoctrinate you. But I still think these numbers are like way high. I think this 96 million number is way high. 240 million number is way high. Anyways, even with those numbers being high, in my opinion, Look at Captain America Civil War. It's the last Captain America film in the Captain America franchise. It had an opening weekend of $179.1 million back in 2016. It went on to earn $408 million domestically. So without even factoring in inflation, this film, Brave New World, is predicted to perform 46% worse than Civil War in its opening weekend and 41% worse in its domestic haul. I mean, that shows you how far the Marvel Cinematic Universe has fallen. 46% worse opening weekend, 41% total domestic. That is abysmal. We can look back to 2014, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It had an opening weekend of $95 million and a domestic gross of $259 million. So again, that's 11 years ago. And we're saying that that's about the same that this film is supposed to get. So if you factor in inflation, $126.6 million opening weekend, $356 million domestic total. So even the second movie in the franchise, it's going to perform worse, right? And that's not even, I'm just looking at total dollar inflation. I'm not even like factoring in ticket inflation. So you're probably getting less tickets, etc. Less people are actually seeing these films. All of that goes into that. So we can also look at kind of some recent entries into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or just look at actually the worst opening weekends. Obviously, that record currently belongs to the Marvels. It had an opening weekend of just $46.1 million just 2 years ago, 2023. Other poor opening weekends include The Incredible Hulk, but that was 2008, right? $55.4 million. Ant-Man, 2015, $57.2 million. First Avenger did $65 million. Again, this is all without factoring in inflation. Thor from 2011 did $65.7 million. Eternals, $71.2 million. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, $75.3 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp, $75.8 million. And then Black Widow, $80.3 million. Obviously, Black Widow, you could probably add more to that because they did the whole day and date release with Disney Plus, so that's got like a little bit of an asterisk on it. I think they said they made $60 million in the opening weekend just on Disney Plus. So maybe you say it did $140 million, so it would actually be a lot better than this film. But just looking at straight up box office, it did $80.3 million according to the numbers. So again, this is all not factoring in any inflation. It's looking like it might have a worse opening weekend, though, than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's not bad. This film looks like it's going to do. That movie had an opening weekend of $106.1 million. So that's $10 million more than what we're seeing here based on these long-range predictions, which, again, I think are high. I think they're very high. I think we're going to see it go down. But that just shows you how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is on a negative decline here. Sure, you might have exceptions that jump it back up, like Deadpool and Wolverine, but overall, this franchise is on the decline, and I just don't see them going upward with movies like this. I mean, who wants to see a Captain America movie without Steve Rogers? Who wants to see a Captain America movie without Steve Rogers? Who wants to see a Captain America movie where it is clearly I think the intent behind it was to lampoon 70 plus million Americans and their thoughts on politics? Who wants to see a movie like that? I just don't think the audience is there for that. And we've seen this in video games, and I think we've seen this even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just look at those movies I listed there, right? Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, Ant-Man and the Wasp, etc., right? Those movies have agenda, and no one wanted to go see those because that was kind of when they started pushing all of the MCU stuff right there, and it's been downward since. So I think they are going to have to reap what they sow, and this film is not going to do well, and it's going to lose them, I think, a lot of money, specifically because they've been spending a lot of money on it as well. Like I said, Tim Blake Nelson saying he shot the movie at least twice, and then he was going to go back for more reshoots as well. So it's not looking good for this film, and everything we've heard about it from Anthony Mackie is like, we've defeated the good versus bad in the MCU. It's like, what are you even talking about, dude? Like, this utterly ridiculous nonsense stuff when he was promoting the film, I feel like just last year, at the beginning of last year. So even things like that, it just does not look good for this movie. But let me know what you guys make of these early predictions here from Sean Robbins. $96 million opening weekend, 240 overall domestic growth. I think those are high. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.